Welcome to the first edition of Nationwide after the return of Mr. President. My name is Ogechi Paul and thanks for joining us. President Muhammadu Buhari has formally resumed duty after his medical vacation in London. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports on initial engagements of the president at the nation's seat of government.
It is Monday, the first working day since the return of President Muhammadu Buhari from his medical vacation in London. The president, who was already seated in his office by 11:30 in the morning, signed an executive communication for transmission to the National Assembly. This is to notify the lawmakers of his formal resumption of official responsibilities in line with the provision of Section 145, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution as amended.
When some astronauts went to the moon, I think one of them, when he stepped on the moon, he said, "This is one small step, but a giant leap for humanity." The transmission of the letter shows that the president is fully back and has resumed work, and Nigeria can look forward to greater things coming.
So what will be his major focus now that he resumed duty?
Yeah, before he traveled, he had always said it. The focus of government will still remain securing the country, reviving the economy, and fighting corruption. But you know that those are the three major planks. But any other thing that arises, government will tackle it.
I hope we are finished. I am from Mr. President's office to collect a written declaration to the National Assembly, two chambers of the National Assembly, on his resumption of duty as provided by the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended.
Since coming to power, President Muhammadu Buhari keeps faith with the rule of law and constitutionality, and therefore never failed to write the National Assembly either while proceeding or returning from his vacations. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has warned that the federal government will no longer tolerate inflammatory comments and other unguided utterances by Nigerians that tend to undermine the corporate existence of the country. In a special broadcast at the nation on his return from his medical vacation in London, the president maintained that Nigeria's unity is not negotiable. Still, our correspondent Adamu Sambo again has a report.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who spent over 100 days in London on medical vacation, returned to Nigeria to a rousing welcome last Saturday. While in the United Kingdom, the Nigerian leader kept touch with developments at home, especially the robust and lively discussions on national affairs.
But I was distressed to notice that some of the comments, especially in the social media, have crossed our national red lines by daring to question our collective existence as a nation. This is a step too far. Nigerians' unity is settled and not negotiable. We shall not allow irresponsible elements to start trouble, and when things get bad, they run away and settle others with the responsibility of bringing back order, if necessary, with their blood.
The president recalled that on joining partisan politics in 2003, the late Odumegu Ojukwu was his guest in Daura, and for 2 days they discussed in great depth, analyzing the problems and prospects of Nigeria.
We both came to the conclusion that the country must remain one and united. Every Nigerian has the right to live and pursue his business anywhere in Nigeria without let or hindrance.
He said although there are legitimate concerns, the National Assembly and the National Council of State remain the lawful and appropriate bodies for national discourse. On security, President Buhari charged law enforcement agencies not to let the successes recorded so far in the fight against insurgency be a reason for them to relax.
Terrorists and criminals must be fought and destroyed relentlessly so that the majority of us can live in peace and safety.
The federal government, the president promised, will reinforce and reinvigorate the onslaught against the remnants of Boko Haram, kidnappers, farmers-herdsmen conflicts, as well as the political mischief makers fueling ethnic violence.
We shall tackle them all.
President Buhari reaffirmed his resolute commitment towards ensuring that the challenges of economic security, political evolution and integration, as well as lasting peace amongst Nigerians, are achieved and maintained. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Guests on Good Morning Nigeria have urged President Muhammadu Buhari to capitalize on the people's goodwill to urgently address the social problems bedeviling the nation. Lydia Sampson has the report.
Viewing the president's special broadcast to the nation, guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria say it touched on critical areas and was obvious that the president is not happy with agitations calling for disintegration. They advised government to prioritize nation building.
Luckily, President Buhari has a lot of goodwill, and he should capitalize on the goodwill of the people, and particularly sympathy he has garnered right now to do things that are right and also address some of the social issues that Nigeria is confronting.
And also for us to prioritize this issue of nation building, to recognize that there are crises in nation building, to stop opening several centers of war centers at the center. So
the guests also expressed satisfaction with the assurance given by the president to intensify efforts at providing adequate security at all levels, as well as the commitment to ensure that Nigerians feel free to reside wherever they like.
I like the references, the coded innuendos he used to send some messages to groups like Nnamdi Kanu's group, to Arewa youths. That was a very powerful message. My only concern, if the president has started the presidency the way the speech came out today, in terms of trying to build consensus, knowing that after an election, every election is like a war situation, that after an election, people now deliberately need to use state instruments to bring people together.
I hope the government will not only insist on addressing the issue from the security, military or the police action alone. There must be also a social engineering kind of process where the local governments could be functional. The state themselves must be sensitive to the kind of policies that they come up with. That again will help and boost the efforts of the federal government.
They are of the view that genuine grievances should be discussed and addressed for the overall good of the nation. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Still on return of Mr. President, the Southwest Zonal Coordinator of National Committee of Buhari Support Groups, NCBSG, Professor Ajayi Barofis, says the people of the Southwest Geopolitical Zone will continue to support President Muhammadu Buhari's government. In a statement signed by Senator Barofis, the people of the Southwest remain confident that President Buhari will continue to lead the country on the path of purposeful leadership and economic revival. The refoya with which Mr. President was received back from London is testimony that support for his administration has expanded across zones. The group also salutes Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo for his outstanding efforts in the absence of Mr. President. Nigerians have been admonished to beware of the dangers inherent in hate speech and not allow the country to disintegrate due to misguidance by selfish groups and individuals. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria expressed concern and the trend and cautioned that, if unchecked, may lead to devastating consequences. Lydia Sampson has a report.
The guests attributed the increase in hate speeches to segregated interactions leading to mistrust and misunderstanding. They also stressed that freedom of expression must not be used as an excuse to cause mayhem. They say harnessing the multicultural and diverse interests of the nation can create the much-desired unity and strength. The guests were quick to reiterate that Nigeria can come up with a clear definition of what constitutes hate speech.
If offensive speech is the general term, then you have hate, you have dangerous. Hate speech comes up when you utter words that demean, ostracize, demonize, say something ill, abuses, incites against an individual based on his own group membership.
That freedom, that fundamental human right for freedom of expression, can easily be turned into expressions that go to the very opposite of the human rights themselves.
They deliberated on crucial role played by the social media in propagating hate speech and recommended the equipping of media organizations to set the pace in the constructive use of the social media as a veritable tool for peace and tranquility.
Even the opinion you hold could be misconstrued as incitement. Why is it very necessary in some mature democracies to make categories of speeches, to differentiate different forms of speech? Because of their belief in free speech.
We're using Nigeria as an example that perpetuate this hate speech. They undermine the institutions and they forget that they will need these institutions subsequently.
They condemned the dangerous narrative of exclusiveness peddled by groups to further heat up the polity. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
The nationwide broadcast of President Muhammadu Buhari has continued to receive comments from different interest groups. Coalition of state lawmakers under the umbrella of Democratic Youth Congress in support of President Muhammadu Buhari is among the latest of such groups. Salihu Abdullahi has a report.
Nigerians receive the return of President Muhammadu Buhari with great reactions, some with joy for his sound health, and others see it as an opportunity to consolidate on the gains of his administration. The positive impact of Buhari's administration so far, affecting most critical sectors of human lives, the group say will further boost people's confidence and support.
His agendas have been spelled out and they are clear for us to see, but we are being manipulated by some of our selfish leaders, and that is why we are misinformed. By inviting the youth for interactive section, it will open an ample opportunity to educate the youth.
This country is blessed with a leader that has the capacity, that has everything going for him. It all requires support from every individual.
Realizing the importance of collective collaboration in a democratic society, Democratic Youth Congress resolved to be part of the change agents and want Nigerian youths to be worthy ambassadors in the process. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Residents of Adamawa, being the state of the wife of the president, took to the streets in Yola to welcome back President Muhammadu Buhari after his medical vacation in London. Rayanu Bala has the report.
The rally, organized by General Muhammadu Buba Marwa Foundation, took off from Sarkashin Road through Mohammed Mustafa Way in celebration of the return of Mr. President. The rally, led by coordinator Marwa Foundation, Musa Bubakari Kamale, among other APC supporters, wished the president good health and ability to pilot the affairs of the country effectively. He pledged total support to the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari to enable him deliver his mandate.
General Buhari has kept to his word. He has fought corruption. He has fought insecurity all over Nigeria. He is fighting the problems of unemployment. We wish Mr. President and his family good health, long life, more energy, more strength in order to serve Nigeria and its people.
Other APC supporters during the rally appreciated the effort of Vice President Yemi Osinbajo for living up to expectation while the president was away. In Yola, Rayanu Bala, NTA News.
And to other matters. Now, the House of Representatives Committee on Diaspora Matters has called on the Nigerian Embassy in Ghana and the Ghanaian government to swiftly intervene in the ongoing crisis in Ghana, which has led to the death of 5 Nigerians. The chairman of the committee, Representative Rita Oji, while briefing National Assembly correspondents, advised Nigerians in Ghana to stay indoors until peace is restored. Ignatius Zunko reports.
Over the weekend, the report of conflict between citizens of Ghana and Nigerians living in Soweto area of Ghana is said to have claimed the lives of 5 Nigerians. Trouble started when a 48-year-old Nigerian, Thompson Peter, was alleged to have stabbed in self-defense a Ghanaian whom he claimed wanted to rob him. Report says immediately the police arrested a Nigerian, Ghanaians in Soweto began attacking Nigerians.
And I'm calling upon the government of Ghana and their commissioners, wherever they are, to quickly step this bad so that it will not continue. Because as reported, 5 gone already. We are not sure of their record. Nigeria has lost the student that was killed by his fellow student in Ghana. We did not resort to killing Ghanaians here. It was settled.
Representative Rita Oji observed that the killing of Nigerians abroad has become a recurring issue which must be addressed urgently. She advised Nigerians in diaspora to return home and join the Stay Home and Build project, which our office and the National Directorate of Employment are putting up for Nigerians in diaspora.
We want to take these youths into custody of good Nigerians that will put them in companies where they will learn. As they learn the trade, they will return home and they will be empowered to continue.
Last week, a 39-year-old Nigerian was also reported to have been killed in South Africa. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The Senate Committee on Customs, Excise Tariff and Marine Transport has found some companies that appeared before it culpable and has directed Nigeria Customs Service to ensure the return of monies given to those companies to the federal government. National Assembly correspondent Rabi Musa has details.
The investigative hearing of 61 of the 2,000 companies led to the recovery of over 120 billion naira from some airline companies.
In the same vein, those companies found to have been involved in round-tripping, abuse of Form M, and a violation of foreign exchange guidelines by central bank will be charged to court. The companies, which include Air Canal Integrated and Logistics Limited, Don Climax, Gaxel International, African Tiles and Ceramics, the Dana Group, Network Oil and Gas, IBG Investment Limited, Buhari International, Huawei Technology, Indorama Petrochemical, Starcom PLC, African Industries, and African Wire and Cable. The committee has also resolved that companies that fail to appear before it, despite the window of opportunity given to them, if they don't appear before Monday next week, they will be made to face the full wrath of the law.
The committee emphasized the issuance of demand notice with immediate effect to dairy companies. The investigation by the Committee on Customs, Excise, Marine and Transport continues on the remaining 1,939 companies. Rabi Musa, NTA News.
Benue State Governor Samuel Otom says every Nigerian has the right to live and carry out his legitimate business in the state as long as it is within the ambit of the law. The governor, who was reacting to an ultimatum to herdsmen by a coalition of middle-belt youths, also spoke about the murder of the special advisor on economy. Abdullahi Suleiman Yaji has the report.
The governor pledged his administration's commitment to ensuring the security of lives and property and urged the people of Benue State to remain patriotic.
Nigerians and herdsmen and all well-meaning Nigerians who wish Nigeria well should disregard that threat. People should go about their normal duty. I'm back, and I'll give protection to anyone. There is nothing like ultimatum in Benue State.
Governor Samuel Otom, who just returned from an investment trip to China, where he engaged with investors in boosting agriculture and cement production in the state, said the Benue State was on the path of economic advancement. In Abuja, Abdullahi Suleiman Yaji, NTA News.
Our first stop on Nationwide is Lagos. As Lagosians react to President Buhari's return, let's now join Ademola in that center for details on this and more. Hello, Ademola, it's over to you.
Thank you, Ogechi. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to Lagos. Nigerians have continued to express joy at the return of President Muhammadu Buhari to the country after his medical vacation in the United Kingdom, describing it as a welcome development for the nation. Ken Igbeluhe, who went around the Lagos metropolis, now reports.
The return of President Muhammadu Buhari, Lagosians say, called for joy. His long absence from office, they say, created anxiety and worry. But his return, which they had constantly looked forward to, will to a large extent stabilize the country. A cross-section of clergymen and Lagosians described the president's return as symbolic and a sign of renewed hope for the country.
He's one leader that we believe that God can use to turn Nigeria around.
And we trust God that God will turn his health situation around.
We're happy that he's back. We've been praying for him to come back, and we thank God he brought him back. And he who brought him back, he will sustain him, he will keep him for us.
Others of the opinion that his anticipated return will help douse the growing political tension across the country.
Now, we can at least focus on pressing national issues, and we will not be distracted again. Buhari is back, live, active, healthy, and recharged.
We believe God has heard our prayers, that God has healed him, and that he's going to continue in the strides. All the promises that Nigeria received at the beginning of the administration shall be realized.
Now that he's back, all Nigerians should put their hands together and support him, because all we are clamoring for is for change and the best.
He also expressed gratitude to the Vice President for holding forth while the President was away, that his presence will return Nigeria to greatness. They pray that God should grant him the ability and patience to deal with issues in the interest of Nigerians. Nigerians are optimistic that his return to the country will make Nigerians work together towards achieving one united Nigeria. In Lagos, Ken Igbeluge, NTA News.
Still on the president's return, fervent prayers and fasting have been held for President Muhammadu Buhari for quick recovery and for Nigeria to get out of recession. The prayers offered by the Christian Pentecostal Mission Church in Lagos attracted huge crowd and clergymen.
The congregation received the news of President Muhammadu Buhari's return amidst jubilation and thanksgiving to God for his mercies. The prayer and fasting already scheduled for the president's recovery coincided with his return.
What is expected of him is to start where he stopped before he left. He has to put things right.
The event was also to thank God for many years of fruitful evangelism by the Christian Pentecostal Mission. The General Overseer of the Church, Reverend Obiora Ezekiel, said the Church will continue to work together in love and unity while striving for the advancement of the ministry in the service of God. The chaplain in Aso Rock, Pastor Sheyi Malomo, who represented the Vice President, commended the Church for ceaseless prayers for the nation and her leadership.
It is a symbolic return, that as he came, his healing is also a healing of Nigeria. And let's just hold that together in faith, because when we are one, we'll receive what we desire.
Wife of the governor of Lagos State, Bolanle Ambode, also commended the church for its good work in praying for a united Nigeria. Senator Oluremi Tinubu spoke to NTA News and asked Nigerians to exercise patience with the present administration while working to fix the country.
Everybody should be actively involved.
My desire and prayer is that number one, Nigeria will remain one. Restructuring, great, but that we will remain one. We are too interlocked to separate.
The event ended with a special thanksgiving to God in Lagos. Annie Daniels, NTA News.
We now move on to other stories. In line with the federal government efforts to tackle corruption in Nigeria, a new coalition of over 50 civil society groups have come together to support the fight against all forms of corrupt practices across the country. Human rights activist Joe Oke Odumake made this known at a conference tagged Red Card to Corruption in Lagos. Diana Ajele, who was at the conference, compiled this report.
That song by the coalition of a civil society group marked the beginning of a 10-day campaign against corruption. Human rights activist Joe Oke Odumake, who chaired the kick-off campaign, says continuous public sensitization is a vital tool that will assist in tackling the trend of corrupt practices in the country.
We must not continue to agonize. We must organize. And organizing is that we must let people know that corruption has become so cancerous. It has eaten into the fabric of this country. If we block all the holes that they are using to bleed our country white, I'm sure our country will be great again.
Part of the objectives and vision of the new group, Movement Against Corruption, are sponsoring legislations that will strengthen various anti-corruption agencies in the country and educate the general public on the cancerous effect of corruption. Other members of the group also explained why it is necessary for all Nigerians to be involved in the war against corruption in order to make Nigeria great again.
We're going to go into schools, we're going to put a lot of values into their curriculum and ensure that the integrity we want, the new Nigeria we want to see in the future begins with them.
By creating awareness, advocacy through let's kill corruption, otherwise corruption will kill us.
A walk against corruption, the group says, will be taking place on the 30th of August 2017 in Lagos and Abuja to sensitize the public on the dangers of corruption.
The Federal Road Safety Corps is working to restore sanity on the roads as the festive season approaches. This was the message by the Zonal Commanding Officer RS2 Lagos Zaki Alkali during a special patrol of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Abolore Ogbara reports.
A Federal Road Safety Corps team, while embarking on a special patrol, which they say is to enhance free flow of traffic on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Zonal Commanding Officer Lagos, Zaki Alkali, disclosed that over 50% of road crises on Nigerian roads are caused by accidents. He said overspeeding, overloading of vehicles, lack of good maintenance, and disobedience of traffic rules and regulations are some key issues leading to accidents on the highways.
Whenever we have crashes along the route, it compounds the problem because it has to take time for us to clear the obstruction before we restore free flow of traffic. I want to believe you have seen what has just happened. Because of an obstruction, it generated serious traffic. We are also going to look at the issue of overloading. We are not going to close our eyes from that.
Due to the ongoing reconstruction of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, Alkali appealed to road users not to violate the safety rules on that axis.
What we discovered is that any time there is an obstruction, however slight that obstruction is, the people would tend to drive against the traffic.
The Federal Road Safety Corps has therefore advised all motorists to be patient, as all efforts are being made to curb any form of activities that can pose a threat to road users. In Lagos, Abolore Ogbara, NTA News.
Well, that does it from Lagos. It's back to you, Ogechi, for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. The Nasarawa state government is seeking for the establishment of additional forward operational base for the Nigerian army to support the police tackle cases of crimes and criminalities in the state. Governor Portharcourt Makura said this when he met with the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai. In Abuja, Joshua Jito has details.
Currently, the Nigerian Army has one forward operation base in Doma, Nasarawa State, pending the completion of Army Barrack under construction. But the visit of Governor Umaru Tanko Almakura to Army headquarters in Abuja, apart from commending the role of the Nigerian Army in ensuring peace and security in the state, the establishment of two more forward operation bases in northern and western zones of the state will no doubt sustain the existing peace.
With this formation is a different strategic position in the state, to network security and intelligence gathering that will support the administration of the state and ultimately add value to the security of the state.
Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai assured Governor Almakura that the Nigerian Army will strengthen its collaboration with other security agencies so as to secure the state.
We rest assured that this will be tabled appropriately at the appropriate time for the Nigerian Army Council to consider based on other parameters, including the traits that will warrant it to be established there.
Already, the ongoing Operation Harbin Kunama to rid Kaduna State of all crimes and criminality, the Army Chief said has been extended to part of Nasarawa State to curb rising cases of kidnapping and armed banditry. In Abuja, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
The Kwara State government has confirmed a case of Lassa fever infection in the state. State Commissioner for Health Suleiman Atolagbe Alege announced this at a press conference in his office in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital. Abdul Hafiz Alaya has the details.
Briefing the newsmen on the discovery, Suleiman Atolagbe Alege said out of the 5 samples taken to virology unit of Lagos University Teaching Hospital, 1 was confirmed positive case of Lassa fever. According to the commissioner, the 10-year-old boy who tested positive was from Babala community, while the 4 others who were taken from Urago axis, all in Ifelodun local government area of the state, tested negative. He disclosed that a medical team has been deployed to monitor the situation, isolate the victim, and commence contact tracing for possible treatment and quarantine where necessary.
Basically now our team will be moving to Babala axis for a PHC. We look for the patient, we monitor the patient, and also our isolation center will be created in General Hospital Omuara, which is very close to the place. This information has gotten to Nigeria Center for Disease Control and other necessary partners. We are now working together as a team technically to nip it in the bud.
Atolagbe Alege, however, appealed to residents of the state not to panic as government is on alert to prevent further spread of the disease. In Ilorin, Abdulhafiz Alaya, NTA News.
Still talking health, in line with the resolution of the National Council on Health and Food Safety Reforms, the Federal Ministry of Health, in collaboration with UNIDO, has embarked on an awareness program on food safety in Kano. The campaign has the theme "Food Safety Begins with You." Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
Food is essential to every human being, and without it, no one can survive. It is therefore important to know what to eat and where it comes from, so as to prevent the occurrence of foodborne illness. Many people become victims of food poisoning, and this has led to diseases such as diarrhea, typhoid, cholera, and sometimes Lassa fever. It is against this background that the Federal Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, embarked on food safety campaign in Kano to create awareness on the issue.
Many people do not understand the significance of food safety, particularly in this country. And we need to cascade down, why is our food not safe?
We've been to about 5 states, and wherever we went, after the sensitization, people have always reported back to tell us the benefits they derive from this sensitization.
In recent times, some of our agricultural produce, particularly our beans and egusi, have been rejected by the European Union. So what we intend to achieve with this is to turn around the situation of rejects to zero reject and ensure that our products, both for consumption at home and for export outside, meet best international practice.
We are being enlightened about how to save our food.
The Food Safety Awareness Campaign brought together stakeholders from Bakers Association, market women, farmers, as well as regulatory agencies. From Kano, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
In a related development, the Taraba State Coordinating Office of FADAMA 3 additional farming financing has flagged off a graduate and unemployment youth and women support program in Taraba State. The program, which drew participants from all the local government areas in the state, including Yankchu and Ngada special development areas, is to train them on agricultural production. Joseph Gambo reports.
The Food Security and Livelihood Emergency Support Program, an initiative of the federal and state government, is aimed at providing support to the internally displaced persons affected by insurgency in the northeast and other crises. Flagging off the exercise, which took place in Bukari, Bali, and Adukola local government areas of the state, Governor Darius Dixon Ishaku, represented by the state head of service, Mr. Simon Angiu, charged the beneficiaries to make judicious use of the items donated to them.
God has blessed the state with a lot of natural and human resources, and Taraba is a natural gift to the nation. And he has kept us safe to harness these resources to help ourselves and help the country.
The Taraba State Coordinating Officer for Dama 3 Additional Financing, Mrs. Regina Festus, disclosed that the program seeks to target 67 communities with 2,688 IDP households as beneficiaries. Other speakers at the event commended Governor Jairus Ishaku for not only paying the counterpart funding, but for being the first to do so in the entire Northeast. Available records by the United Nations High Commission for Refugees indicates that about 50,000 IDPs are currently taking refuge in various communities across the state. In Jalingo, Joseph Zanagambo, NTA News.
The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, and the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and IDPs have resolved to renew intervention progressively to cater to humanitarian needs in all aspects of its challenges. Heads of the agencies disclosed this on the occasion of the commemoration of the 2017 World Humanitarian Day celebration in Abuja, which has as its theme, not a target, protection for civilians. Elias Yoeli Kubu. That's a report.
Humanitarian challenges have continued to affect human existence in all ramifications, ranging from displacement caused by communal conflict, religion and violent extremism, thereby subjecting people, especially women and children, to extreme hunger and death. The 2017 World Humanitarian Day celebration was celebrated in Abuja with a roadwork through major streets of the city to sensitize the public on the need to mainstream on the situation of those in their need of assistance. Director General NEMA Mustafa Yunus Mehadja and National Commissioner Refugee Commission Sadia Umar Farouk represented, thanked key partners for the support and promised to intensify effort at improving the lives of those in their need.
NEMA, being the coordinating agency of all humanitarian activities, is committed to providing the needed leadership and is doing well so far.
We must all therefore join hands and find durable solutions to the myriad societal challenges that have gripped our great nation.
And we at the legislative arm of government will continue to respond by supporting the executive arm as well as all humanitarian partners in making sure that we combat these acts of terror.
The UN representative and other partners emphasize the need for government to give unfettered access to government agencies for synergy in improving the lives of war and conflict victims. In Abuja, Ilyasu Ali Yakubu, NTA News.
Well, this is a reminder that you can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device or the Google Play Store or the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Well, let's now pause for some messages. Nationwide returns shortly. Stay with us.
National Council for Arts and Culture Abuja presents 10th African Arts Crafts Expo, AFAC Expo 2017, the biggest arts and crafts expo in Africa. Theme, Nigerian Crafts, the untapped treasure. Date, 27th August to 17th September 2017. Venue, Arts and Crafts Village, beside Sheraton Hotel and Yaradua Center, Abuja. Time, 9 a.m. daily. AFAC presents a unique platform for artists, crafts dealers, manufacturers and other stakeholders to buy, sell and promote products from Nigeria and other African countries. For more information, please call Chinwe on 0803-321-7724, Gerald on 0802-3345-301. National Council for Arts and Culture, our pride. Otumba Olusegun Ronshewe, Director General, Announcer.
Get high on books, not drugs. Only those who hate themselves fill their bodies with smoke, drugs, and harmful substances.
He broke my heart.
These days, when young lady or young man has emotional upheavals, he or she abuses cough syrup with codeine, some sniff glue, sewage, even petrol.
I'm already finished. Just let me finish myself completely.
Alas, where is our tomorrow headed? This week on Professor John Bull, we introduce to you high people, all of them, one by one, Find out why Jumoke wasted her school fees and why Flash went local.
Come on, stay one place.
Over and out.
Brought to you by Glow.
The largest data network, Glow Unlimited.
Ultimate Hotels, Abuja, the ultimate place to be.
Get ready for the Diaspora Festival, Badagry, Lagos, as we welcome diasporans.
Our ancestors walked through the door of no return. Now we walk through the door of return.
And also to celebrate the cultural heritage of Nigeria. Theme, Voyage to Heritage, featuring a lot of exciting activities like the historic Door of Return ceremony, carnival procession, boat regatta, dark era procession, fishing competition, heritage site visits, international music concert, an international symposium, themed African diaspora beyond the Atlantic, and lots more. Date, 23rd to 25th of August 2017. For sponsorship and more information, please call... Come and join the Voyage to Heritage. See you there.
The NTA Television College, Jos, wishes to inform the 2009 to 2015 diploma graduates in television production, television journalism, and television engineering programs of the college that the diploma certificates are now ready for collections. Concerned graduates of 2009 to 2015 are requested to collect their certificates from the Academy Secretary's office from 21st of August to 11 September 2017 between 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Mondays to Fridays. To collect your certificates, you are required to present the following: statement of result, clearance slip. For further inquiries, please contact Academic Office on 080-6980-9807 or Corporate Affairs on 080-33-144-383. Sign, Registrar.
Reorganized, trained, and fully equipped. We are the new improved Nigeria Police Force. We fight crime. We bust syndicates. Whatever the crime, wherever the hideout, the Nigeria Police Force will get you busted. Stop kidnapping, armed robbery, murder, pipeline vandalism, and other criminal activities. Be productive. Be security conscious. Join the police force to secure your life and property. This message is from the Nigeria Police Force Public Relations Department.
We're glad to know you're still watching Nationwide. The National Cash Transfer Office, with support from the World Bank, has developed a national framework for the core responsibilities reflecting key national priorities and desired outcomes in the areas of human capital formation and productive inclusion. Kolo Mohammed reports that the National Cash Transfer Office and the World Bank engaged the Rapid Resort Institute for guidance and to facilitate the development of an operational manual.
Nigeria's economy is said to be the most developed in Africa and has one of the fastest growing rates in the world currently, which explains why the number of people living in poverty in Nigeria is unacceptable. Government therefore came up with different policies and programs to eradicate poverty, one of which is the conditional cash transfer targeting the most vulnerable.
You and I will agree that 5,000 alone cannot elevate people from poverty. except their capacity is enhanced to begin to invest in assets and establish livelihoods. And that is what we will be doing from now.
So the manual covers the entire program. It speaks to how you select the beneficiaries or how they are selected and right to the point where they get the payment.
The pilot scheme took place in Kogi State, and part of the resolution of the National Framework document is to scale up the approach, especially the commitment on the part of the beneficiaries in order to earn a top-up from the extra funds provided by the World Bank.
The pilot state, and it has gone down to the common man of having these benefits, and all that it makes is to have this, what we are doing today.
Going forward, more states are expected to key into the program. In Abuja, Kolo Mohammed, NTA News.
Portharcourt is next as residents react to the presidential broadcast. Let's now join Diba Bari in that center for this and other reports. Hello, Diba.
Good afternoon, Ogechi, and a warm welcome to Portharcourt. Portharcourt residents have been appraising President Muhammadu Buhari's address to Nigerians with excitement that the speech captures the pertinent concerns affecting the nation. Kingsley Amaji reports, however, that there are high expectations from residents that government speeds up actions to assuage concerns from various segments of the society.
A number of the residents are delighted that the president came back home stronger after over 3 months of medical vacation in London. This, to some, was cheering. From Nigeria's unity, which the president says is non-negotiable, to the admittance that there are genuine concerns, national discourse to the fight against Boko Haram, herdsmen farmers discord, respondents believe the president's speech captured the silent issues agitating the minds of Nigerians. What is needed to douse the tension, they say, is action.
Nigerians need action. We need this country to be good. Plenty of us believe so much in the unity of this country, and on that note, he should please help Nigerians to be happy and be part of this good nation called Nigeria.
The president needs to walk his talk by ensuring that there's industrial revolution that will guarantee work for the teeming youths.
We know that as well as he has come back, that everything will change.
We should pray for our country, Nigeria. But without our support, the government cannot do much. If everybody starts agitating for one another, you distract the government. But when we support them, pray for them, so that our country will grow.
A number of the respondents prayed for stronger health for the president, calling on the citizenry to support his administration to succeed. In Portharcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
There appears to be no end in sight with the ongoing face-off between Academic Staff Union of Universities ASUU and the federal government over the 2009 agreement and the 2013 Memorandum of Understanding, as ASUU appears unrelenting. Osinachi Samuel visited some universities in Portharcourt and reports that the mood of the school indicates that academic activities are still on standstill, contrary to some report that it has been suspended.
University of Portharcourt, Rivers State University, former University of Science and Technology, and Ignatius Ajuru University of Education are some tertiary institutions observing the ongoing ASUU strike in Rivers State. The popular saying that when two elephants fight, the grass suffers is the situation at these universities, as both lecturers and students lament the implication of the ongoing strike.
Students are not on campus in most campuses. Teachers are around, but we cannot teach because we say, look here, we just have to tell the government to do the right thing, having explored all other means.
It's going to cause more harm. So that's the problem. And so for us, if we can, is to keep things moving. If I'm to be Minister of Education or even at the lower level, I don't think this opportunity should be played with.
We are appealing to the government in any way they can hit the cries of ASUU and meet their demands. We as students, it will benefit us.
They, however, appeal to the federal government to pay attention to the education sector. In Portharcourt, Osinachi Samuel, NTA News.
The Nigeria Police River State Command has paraded one Maxwell Ifeanyi-Chukwu, who defiled and killed an 8-year-old girl for ritual purposes in Portharcourt. The command says the ritualist was arrested by a vigilante group on his way to dump the girl's body in a grave. Robinson Derataide has the details.
Police Public Relations Officer Nnamdi Omoni says Maxwell Ifeanyi-Chukwu was accosted by the vigilante group at Eleuzu around 1 a.m. on his way to dump the girl's body after he had removed all her vital parts.
Men of the Upper Police Station, that's the Artillery Police Station, arrested the ritualist by name Ifeanyi-Chukwu, Maxwell Dike, who lured a little girl of about 8 years, got her defiled, raped her to death.
The 2 eyes are off. The tongue is off. One of the breasts is off. Yeah. The 2 fingers, the small one, is off. Yeah. And if you watch at the center here, he carved out here. I start shouting. So this is not ordinary. This boy decided to use my child for a ritual.
The alleged ritualist confessed to the crime, stating that one Mr. Ugochukwu promised to make him rich.
Sometimes I can go to his house and then do 1 or 2 jobs and then ask him for 1 or 2 helps so that I can proceed with my education. But recently he had been turning me down. I'm requesting that I should join his, so he could make me independent and wealthy.
The command also paraded 3 car thieves from Akwa Ibom State. In Portharcourt, Robinson Deratede, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Portharcourt. It is back to Ogechi for the rest of the news.
Well, thank you, Diba. Moving on now, an uncompleted building worth millions of naira along Sulu-Gambari Road, Ilori, has collapsed. NTA Ilori news crew visited the scene of the incident and gathered that there was no casualty. Asha Abubakar has the report.
The incident, according to an eyewitness who spoke to NTA News off camera, explained that the building collapsed around 12 noon while the construction exercise was ongoing. When NTA Ilori news crew got to the scene of the incident, officials of the Standard Organization of Nigeria, led by the state coordinator, were at hand to take sample of the building materials for clarification on the cause of the incident.
We have just taken samples of the reinforcement steel bars, and then we are trying to get some samples of the blocks. But we will also need to have an idea of the structure, the design, the building plan and the design, and then probably discuss with the site engineer.
The chairman, Engineering Regulation Monitoring Unit, Kwara State, Engineer Camille Olalekan, spoke on the likely cause of the collapse.
Our findings revealed that the structural engineer is not competent to handle the building. In a desperate need to save money, the client fails to follow the procurement guidelines for that magnitude of project.
He said soil investigation was not conducted for a building of that magnitude and recommended that henceforth, building with 2 or more stories should be preceded by soil investigation. In Ilori, Aisha Abubakar Yahaya, NTA News.
Talking sports now, Victoria's national women volleyball team arrives the country tonight from Abidjan as the NCC